Oh, hello. You caught me as I was just waking up. How are you today? Hope you're doing good. So for this video, I started it off kind of wonky, but I did it for a reason. So this video is going to be my top 10 albums of 2016. I'm doing this because I see a lot of people on Facebook doing theirs, and I wanted to do one, so... Alright, so my first album that I'm going to be talking about is... Oh, and by the way, this isn't in any particular, order. They're all just, my top 10 favorite albums, just... Okay, so my first album is Shadow of Intent's Primordial. Chris Wiseman, the guitarist, Ben Dewar, the vocalist, whatever you want to call him, were a duo on this effort, and they put it out, and it made so many waves in the deathcore world. Oh my god. But yeah, this album, it combines deathcore with tinges of symphonic and orchestral elements. They're not incredibly prevalent throughout every single passage. They're there, you can definitely hear them, but it's not Flesh God Apocalypse kind of stuff, you feel me? But yeah, that's their first album, and Chris Wiseman is a literal nut on guitar. He could... You hear flashes of Rings of Saturn, you hear flashes of Flesh God Apocalypse kind of stuff going on. And overall, his guitar playing on this album is stellar. Ben Dewar, the vocalist, is literally Satan. Listen to the album. You'll understand exactly what I mean when I say that. My favorite song on the album, I probably gotta go with the one that I listen to the most. It's the Battle of the Maginaut Sphere. That song I feel like that song, out of all of their songs on the first album, sum up what Shadow of Intent completely is. You feel me? But yeah, on to the next entry in my list. The next band I'm going to be going over is a band called, I'm not positive that I'm pronouncing the name right, but they're called Xaphan, and they released their album sometime earlier this year, but yeah, they are a technical death metal kind of thing. Stephen Rose, Niccolo Perricini, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, sorry if I I can't speak, and Andrew Patterson make up this effort. It's an all online project. Everybody did it online and everything. Combining aspects of technical death metal with really kind of, I guess, maybe symphonic elements, with a little tinge of maybe Chakran-esque vibes. They combine all of it really, really nice. My favorite song off of this album is called Son of Sam, because again, by the way, the album name is Iniquitous, before I forget to mention that. I think that's how it's pronounced. I don't know I don't know how to pronounce words. But yeah. Yeah, Son of Sam. I feel like that song, out of all the songs on their discography, really, I mean, maybe Drowning. There's another song on the album called Drowning. I feel like maybe those two songs sum up what I feel like Xaphan really is. If I was hey, listen to this band, I would pick one of those two songs for my friend to listen to first. You feel me? Alright, on to the next album. For this next album that I'm going to be talking about, it's by Entheos, their album The Infinite Nothing. Now, this is one of my favorite albums of this year, combining elements of Veil of Panaf, The Faceless, Veil of Maya. I can hear all of it with this band. Entheos is made up of people from The Faceless, now Scale the Summit with their new guitarist. uh, 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 but essentially they combined all of their influences from their previous bands into this new band Entheos. Their album The Infinite Nothing combines it's really weird because they have a really cool thing where they like combine electronics with death metal, and it's not something you would hear very often. You could argue that they are like a deathcore, a death metal outfit. You could argue both sides, but I tend to put them more on the death metal side than I do the deathcore side. But yeah, they combine like a different and like refreshing approach to riff writing, where like everything seems to flow incredibly well on this album. All the riffs, they coerce into each other almost. It's almost like, hey, it's almost kind of like they had the structure laid out and then they wrote the riffs. You know, it's like, hey, here's the structure of how we're gonna write this song, then we write riffs to it. You know, it's a really unique approach, I feel like, because this entire album is just one big hootenanny of good. My favorite song off of the album my favorite song off of The Infinite Nothing is probably New Light, mainly because it was the first song I ever heard by them. And it was really nice. I've known about Entheos since they formed, ever since the Faceless went through their giant, like, thing. I've known about them since then. And when Evan Brewer joined Entheos, I was like, boy, it's about to get lit. Boy, it's about to get boy. Alright, on to the next entry. Well, hello. Glad you caught me coming out of the shower. Alright, so this next album that I want to talk about is called... Actually, no. I'm not going to tell you what it's called yet. It's by a band that I love dearly. They used to be a really super mega heavy duty down-tempo deathcore band. But if you haven't guessed who I'm talking about yet, it's a band called Traitors. They just released a new album a little while ago called Mental State. Now, their whole down-tempo deathcore idea was almost sort of abandoned with their last effort, Night Terrors. They went for they definitely went for a more nu metal inspired approach. And then, though nu metal inspired, this album I feel like combines the best of both down-tempo deathcore and nu metal spunk. You feel me? There's parts in this that could easily be nu metal beats for like a nu metal band or whatever, a really heavy nu metal band. And there's parts where they show off their down-tempo stuff, their down-tempo deathcore ideas they have going on and everything. And they pull it off really well. Mental State by Traitors is probably, I would think, their premiere album. Like, though Hate Campaign, their debut album, is like the thing that they're known for, I feel like over time Mental State could easily surpass that. Easily surpass that. Ooh, like this Mental State is like, if I was in like a nu metal down tempo band, I would want to sound like Traitors. Mental State by Traitors. I would want to sound like that album. Yeah. All right. On to the next one. Hello. For like the third time now. With this album that I want to talk about a band that's been around for like 20 years now. I think even over that. We're going to talk about Meshuggah while my roommate plays Halo. Meshuggah is a band that encompasses every facet of like progressive with like when you think, oh, progressive metal with this polyrhythm or this intricate thing, Meshuggah is like that band. And laughing at my opinion, boy. Laughing at my opinion, boy.
Laughing at my opinion, boy.
But yeah. They have this, the Violent Sleep of Reason by Meshuggah is like, I personally my favorite album by them, just edging out Coloss, their last album. This album's actually significantly heavier. My favorite track, Nostrum, is just like, it's like that intro groove thing it does. The dun 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 dun, whatever the hell it is just like so like, it's intricate, but it's not so intricate to where it's impossible to understand. It's not like random, you know? And even then, I really feel like this album is like the premiere. I said that twice now. I feel like this album is the premier Meshuggah album. If you want to jump into them, this would be the album to do it with. The album you don't want to do it with is Chaos Sphere. Well, that was years ago though. Anyway, but yeah. The Violent Sleep of Reason by Meshuggah is probably my favorite album by them by a very smidge, mainly because it actually adds an extra bit of heavy to a lot of their riffs. Plus, they recorded all of it live. They recorded all like the polyrhythms and the intricate pieces all live, which is actually incredibly like, wow. Like I was very, it's very, they're very, how they made it is incredibly like intricate with the whole live setup and everything. And I really enjoy it. I appreciate it a lot. They're intricate and they're smart with their music and they know what they're doing. All right, on to the next person. Or album, band, thing. Now let's walk only about 4 feet away from where I was previously sitting over there to talk about Vulvodynia, or Dinya, depending on who you talk to. And their album Psychosadistic Design. Okay, so like Vulvodynia is a South African slam juggernaut who is unbelievably heavy but incredibly approachable with how they interpret their version of slamming death metal / deathcore. You can argue that they're on both sides of that spectrum. I think of them as more death metal because they just come off more death metal. I hear more Cannibal Corpse than I do Chelsea Grin, you know, you feel me? You feel me. All right, so Psychosadistic Design is an overall giant smothering piece of heavy that just doesn't stop and it just slams your face as hard as it can with slams, riffs, breakdowns, all of it. All of it is incredibly tight. It's incredibly it's produced immensely well, and yeah, I appreciate it a lot. It's like it's a daily listen for me. When I pre-ordered it, I expected big things, and it very much surpassed my expectations.
You're about to make me buy a Team Liquid emblem just to freaking have it. No one else has it.
Right, Max? Everyone else has it, right?
Yeah, it's a nice horse.
Right. All right. On to this next.
How much is it, $1?
On to the next band. Let's change it up a little bit. Now I'm only about 10 feet from where I was standing right over there just a second ago, and still about 10 feet from where I was sitting over there just a couple segments ago. And then there's Max. Let's change it up though. Kendrick Lamar's Untitled Unmastered shows us the same Kendrick Lamar that we know, but also a different side of him, while still maintaining the political aspects that he's approached before in his previous works, Untitled and Unmastered, I feel like shows a little bit more of like a seriousness. It's really weird to say because he's always been like a serious rapper most of the time. But there's a different finesse about this album. Maybe it's because it sounds more raw because it's unmastered. It's only very very minimally mixed. He didn't even add a title to this, mainly because he didn't want to take it away from what the album is about. He didn't want to call it something and have people expect it to be something that it wasn't. Like my favorite track is Untitled 6. My favorite line is, "Am I a real man or do I make believe?" or something like that. And there's lines like that spread all throughout this album. Like there's another track on here where it's like something about how his friend bought another 911 and he thought he'd seen another plane crash. Which he brings a lot of a professionalism, a different kind of professionalism to this album. And I can appreciate a lot. I'm not a very big rap fan. There are very few rappers I can appreciate like on like an exclusive level. And Kendrick Lamar is one of them, especially with this new album. Went far beyond my expectations for what a rap album can do. Alright. This next album that I want to talk about is Cyborg Octopuses, Learning to Breathe. Now, Cyborg Octopus is kind of different. They have this weird thing where they combine every other genre ever into their music. So my favorite song off their Learning to Breathe album is a song called Disco Brain, where they combine elements of disco and elements of like metal into one song. They have a song called Data Minefield, which combines elements of death metal kind of stuff with like electronic passages. They have a song called Oh, if I could remember the title of it. Oh, now I'm drawing a blank. Shit. It's fuck. Alright, they have a song, something something in D minor, and it combines like, it's like Beethoven core, and I love it. It's so good. Learning to Breathe is probably the most, it's probably the most odd of all the albums on this list, but it's very worthy of of praise, because this album, they execute every little intricacy and every little like turn of events or every little passage very like, they do it frequently and they do it really, really well with how many genres they're spewing together. Think about 12 Foot Ninja, but more death metal or deathcore bass if you really want to go that route. But yeah, time to go to the next. Time to go to the next thing on the list. Now, these last two albums I'm going to be talking about are probably my personal favorite albums of the entire year. Like, these last two are the albums that I've always came back to. I've always, like, I can listen to and never get tired of. So, and for that, I'm gonna make just one extended portion of this video for it. Now, I know it'll be a little bit hard to understand. Not to understand, maybe, but, you know, fuck it. Let's go into it. Alright. So, this is kind of exciting, because people might not expect this from me, at least. Alright, so, Treehouse by I See Stars is one of my favorite albums, is probably my second favorite album of this year, mainly because of the maturity level that I See Stars came to when making the album. After asking Zach Johnson, the previous Unclean vocalist, to leave, I guess they went through like a little bit of an identity thing where they were like, okay, so what do we want to do now that Zach is gone? Devin Oliver, the main vocalist now, previously just a clean vocalist, he took up duties on screaming, and with Treehouse there isn't a lot of screaming on it, but it's there. And a lot of these songs have a lot of really soulful, really soaring singing. All these choruses on this album are unbelievably catchy. Like Calm Snow, their latest music video they made it for, the latest single or whatever, it is unbelievably catchy. The verses, the chorus, we're watching things unravel slowly. We're watching things unravel slowly. It's so good. It is so good. There are another song that I really like by them is Running with Scissors. I'm letting go. With scissors of every color. With scissors of every color. Boy. The album is so good. All of it is just so good. Boy, it's so good. All of it is just, every song on here is like an individual identity for them. This is the only cut I don't really like on this album is Walking on Gravestones, mainly because it's instrumental. I'm not exactly a big fan of instrumentals, at least for bands like I See Stars, where their music isn't particularly the most intricate or the most like dastardly technical, you know. But even with that, I'm a very big fan of technical music. Like I love really groovy riffs, and I love really like hard to understand things kind of riffs and whatnot. But they make this whole pop metal core thing really work. My favorite song off this album, though, is definitely the heaviest of all the songs, and it's Light in the Cave. Light in the Cave, that intro riff and the little electronic thing behind it. Oh god. It is so good. It is so good. Oh. It's so good. Okay. Woo. It's so good. It is so good. I love that album. That's why it's in my top 10. Alright, so my last album for this list. Before I go into the album and the band, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about this album. This album encompasses everything about what poppy and progressive and technical should be. This album has 11 tracks, I think. The album has really soaring choruses and really epic, just sweeping verses and just huge anthemic and orchestral elements. Again, not in every single passage, but very peppered tastefully throughout the entire album. With this whole experimenting thing they did with the whole orchestral elements, it worked very well. And in the parts where it shows up, you can hear them, and it accompanies everything else. So if the orchestral elements are with a riff, if the orchestral elements are with a thing, it all works incredibly well. And I really do feel like this album is a premiere album by this band. There's even shades of electronic parts where they'll have like little electronic passages. Almost kind of similar to this band's second album. This band's technically their fifth album, if you count the double album they did before this, but overall their fourth. But yeah, I'm talking about Periphery with Periphery 3 Select Difficulty. This album, everything about it, there's not a song on this that I don't listen to. I can listen to this album one listen all the way through. It's over an hour long, so I get an hour of just straight progressive metal. They brought back they brought out three demos from Misha Mansour's previous efforts, threw them in here. Absalom, the fast ones is actually cut into 2 parts, and Motormouth was formerly Chocolate Flobs. The Price is Wrong is the intro riff to that was the riff that Mark Holcomb used to audition for Periphery. So that was. I hear so many good things about this album. My favorite track though is probably Absalom, mainly because it's just so catchy, and it's one of those songs where you can just they play it live and you'll immediately be like singing along, putting your hand up, being like, yeah. And it's just, it's so good. Everything about it is just so good. The track Remain Indoors is from a previous, I think, tone demo of Misha's. That riff, the ba-dum, 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 ba-boom, ba-dum, boom, ba-dum, boom, boom. It's such a good riff. It's just so, different. I don't think I have never heard anything like that in my entire life. Same thing with the riff for Habitual Line Stepper, and that intro where it's like, brrr, and then it goes right into the riff with the double bass, and everything's like... And then the ending of that song is a very big juxtaposition from how the beginning of the song is. One more song that I want to talk about. One more. Give me one more. Give me one more. Give me one more. One more song that I want to talk about. One more song that I want to talk about. One more. Give me one more. Give me one more. Give me one more. One more song that I want to talk about. Give me one more. Give me one more. Catch Fire. Catch Fire. Catch Fire. Catch Fire. Good Christ. Catch Fire is the catchiest song they got, besides Facepalm Mute. Catch Fire is fucking... It is huge. It's such a big song. They play that song live, everybody's singing along to it. If you don't like that song, there's an issue with you. No, that's... I'm just kidding. I wasn't being serious when I said that. But yeah, everything about this album is just Though, okay, I'll preface what I'm about to say this next part. Okay, so I like P2 better than I like P3, but there are certain parts on P3 that I like more than P2. Overall, I like P2 more, but parts of P3 I like better than parts on P2. I really think the addition of orchestral and symphonic elements to Periphery really brings a whole different atmosphere and feel to them. And yeah, it gave them a new life almost. It was almost kind of, it sounds very natural. Every song that has the symphonics and orchestral elements sounds very natural. Alright guys, thank you for watching my top 10 albums of 2016. I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment what your favorite albums of this year were. I want to know everybody's favorite albums of this year. Alright, thanks for watching.